Hello, thank you for joining me. You're here today for a beginner's Pilates session. It's going to be a full body workout and I'm going to guide you through every step. If you'd like to join me on the mat, we'll get started. So coming to lay down on your back, we're going to just come to a nice restful position. We're going to walk our feet a little bit wider than our hips and start by taking our knees to the left and the right. So we create a windscreen wiper movement with the knees. This is just starting to loosen off your hips. You can feel some internal and external rotation there. Don't worry if your hips or your bottom come off the mat here, that's absolutely fine. We're looking to get loads of movement into this lower back, a little bit of rotation each way, so that is absolutely the goal. We're then going to bring the feet back in line with the hips, so kind of parallel feet, parallel knees, parallel hips. And we're going to start with our pelvic clock theory. So if you can imagine there's a big clock face on the front of your pubic area, you're going to imprint your lower back into the mat and that pelvis is tipped towards you. So we're saying that the clock has tipped to the 6 o'clock position. So go back to neutral and then arch your lower back and the clock tips forwards to the 12 o'clock position. So come through neutral, then to 6, imprinting the spine, back to neutral and tip forwards to 12. Back to neutral, back to 6, to neutral, to 12. And keep taking these movements as we go. Do take a moment to pause at neutral because that's a really important position to reinforce in our brain. Just taking those pelvic tilts. Really nice one because it starts to activate your core but also starts to loosen off that lower back. We're going to take these all the way up to our bridge next. So imprint to 6 o'clock. You have rolled your hips towards you. Draw your sit bones towards each other, left sit bone and right sit bone. They draw towards the middle of the pelvis. Push through the feet and start to lift up, peeling the spine away from the mat up to your bridge position. Gently lay each vertebra back down, guide it toward the mat, guiding that spine, and release the pelvic tilt to neutral at the bottom. Imprint to 6 again, squeeze through the glutes or the sit bones, press through the feet, start to lift that bridge, and then gently laying each vertebra in turn, down, 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 down to the mat. So we're going to inhale at the bottom. We're going to exhale as we bridge, inhale as we lower. Exhale, bridge up, inhale, lower down. Keep those going. At the top of your bridge, really lengthen your lower back, scoop your pelvis under. That's it. That helps to elongate the lower back rather than it arching and getting any pressure in it. So we keep that kind of pelvic tuck and pelvic scoop even at the top of the bridge. Good, keep going. We're here for a few more. Squeezing those glutes, tucking that pelvis at the top. Nice. You could take your fingertips onto the front of your hip bones, the bony protrusions at the front of your pelvis. Just to feel for symmetry here, we'd like left and right hip to travel up and down at the same speed. You will probably have one side that's a little bit stronger or a bit more stable than the other, so we're trying to work in symmetry. Watch those knees that they're not likely to roll out or knock inwards. You want to keep knees in line with the hips, so hips width. If you find it more useful when you're doing bridges, you can always pop a block between your knees to help them stay in position. Good, we're just going to stay here for another 3 or 4. I know we've been going for a while now, but I really want to get those glutes working. Pressing down with symmetry through the feet. And a couple more here before we bring it to the mat. So last and final one. Let's get that good imprint. Squeeze glutes, press down through feet, lifting, tucking at the top. And gently bringing those hips back down towards the mat and take a breath in and out. Let's make those bridges a little harder. If you can join me up at the top of your bridge, so scooping up, and then hands onto hip bones like we did before, and just let one hip drop down slightly towards the mat so your pelvis goes off center, and then re-squeeze through the glutes to bring hips to symmetry. So drop and dip one hip, squeeze to level them off, drop and dip, squeeze to level them off, drop and dip, squeeze. We might inhale, drop and dip, exhale, squeeze, inhale, dip, exhale, squeeze. Good, inhale, dip, Exhale, level those hips. Inhale, dip. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, drop and dip. Exhale, squeeze, lengthening that tailbone. Inhale, dip. Exhale, squeeze. 2 more here. We're going to dip. Lengthen that tailbone, squeeze those glutes. Good, last one. And gently bring those down towards the mat. Relax your hands. You might just want to stretch your legs out for a moment here and take your hands overhead and stretch down the full length of the body just to loosen off a little bit. Deep breath. One more time. Wonderful. Walking those hands back down, walking those feet in towards your sit bones again for our final bridge variation. If you can join me at the top of your bridge again, imprint your lower back 6 o'clock with the pelvis. Squeeze the sit bones towards each other, press through the feet, and we are up in our bridge. Remember to get that extra tuck and scoop of the hips and the pelvis there. And we're just going to hold here, squeezing nice and hard around the hips and the legs. We're going to lift the heels, so we're on the balls of the feet now, and then gently lower them down. So you're going up to a tiptoe, and heels lower. Tiptoe, heels lower. Tiptoe, heels lower. Tiptoe, heels lower. Good, 5 more. Here we go. 5, and lower. 4, watch the knees, keep them in line. We don't want them widening or rolling inwards. Good, we've just got 2 more here. Working those calves, working those hamstrings. Good, last one, you've got it. Ooh, and gently then, heels down, rolling down toward the mat. We're going to stretch right leg to the bottom of the mat and hook the left knee in towards the chest just to give that a gentle loosen off. You're welcome to kind of wiggle your left knee open and closed here if you need a little bit more loosening. And then just gently swapping the legs, so lengthen left leg, draw right knee up and in, and maybe just taking that side to side or holding it at center if you prefer to hold it there. Bringing your feet back to your Pilates rest posture, which is with the feet just walked in towards the sit bones, knees bent, arms relaxed. Notice the position of your spine here and then your body on the mat. So you should feel the weight of your head there behind you, the weight of the shoulders and the shoulder blades in the mat. Maybe you can feel the back of your rib cage on the mat. That would be fantastic if you can feel that. There should be a gentle curve where your lower back arches away from the mat. Don't worry about fleshy, squidgy bits. We've all got those. They might be on the mat, but your spine itself will arch in that lumbar region of the spine. And then you've got the sacrum there at the back of the pelvis, just supporting the weight of the hips and the pelvis and the feet on the ground as well. So we're going to start talking about this natural curve that we've got going on in our lumbar. Where you are now in its restful position is essentially your neutral. Yours will be slightly different to mine. But this is the neutral curve that we want to train, support and strengthen. So old school teaching may have asked you to imprint your lower back into the mat as you do ab exercises, which is safe, it's fine. But if we can, we like to try and exercise in neutral spine. So maintaining that neutral, just drawing in through the lower abdominals, start to lift one knee to tabletop legs. If you have imprinted your back, pop that leg down and do it again. Find your neutral spine, engage your lower abdominals. So that's kind of between your left hip and your right hip, drawing in there. Lift a knee. Re-engage, lift your second knee. So you're now in tabletop legs. Gently take one foot down and gently take the second foot down. If you need to reposition, have a wiggle, reposition. Try and find neutral. We'll go again. Lift one leg to tabletop. Re-engage, because that second leg feels heavier. Lifting second leg to tabletop. Take one leg down, take the other leg down. So we'll lift right foot to tabletop. Re-engage. Lift left leg to tabletop. Left leg down, right leg down. And this time lead with your left leg to tabletop. Neutral spine, engage lower abdominals, lift the right knee. Take the right knee down, lower the left. Good. Right lifts, re-engage, left lifts. Left lowers, right lowers. Engage, left lifts, re-engage, right lifts. Gently lower the right. Control over the left. Engage, lift right, re-engage, lift left. Gently lower left, control lower right. Engage, lift left. Re-engage, lift right. Lower the right. And gently lower the left. Good. Just take those knees side to side, loosen off. And we'll find tabletop legs and try some toe taps next into your tabletop legs when you're ready. So lifting one leg at a time, maintaining neutral and engaging core. So we want to keep a right angle at the knees. Okay, 90-degree angle at the knee. We're just going to open up through the hip joint there to allow our toe to dip. Just tap the mat with the big toe and gently draw back to tabletop legs. So alternating legs, gently tap and lift, tap and lift. So as I said earlier, if it's safer, feel free to fully imprint your lower back into the mat if you need that for this control. If you're happy to work in neutral spine, fantastic. But if your core strength, isn't quite trained up yet, you might prefer and feel safer imprinting that lower back into the mat for support. So we're just alternating these toe taps. You may also find that actually taking your big toe all the way to the mat is quite strenuous. You might just want to hover somewhere above the mat and lift back to tabletop. Hover somewhere above, lift back to tabletop. So keep going for a few more of these. I'm aware if you're doing these correctly, they're really quite tough. So drawing, scooping in through the lower abdominals here as we continue with toe taps. We'll maybe just do 2 more here. And then gently take each foot gently down to the mat. And again, maybe take knees side to side for some windscreen wiper knees. And then bring those legs back to your Pilates rest position. Hands are coming by the side. We're going to move on to some overhead circles. Now these are quite easy in theory, but again, we're going to try and really connect through the core well here. So just slowly start to take your arms into an overhead reach position. Now you get to a point, and you might already be at that point, where your chest has popped up, your ribs have lifted up, and actually your back of your rib cage has maybe come away from the mat slightly. So we've gone too far in that case. Let's bring the arms back down towards the sides and slowly start taking that overhead reach position again, but don't allow your chest to pop. Keep the ribs almost trying to kiss your hip bones, and that should keep the back of the ribs grounded, front of the ribs kissing the hips, and then gently bring the arms back down to the sides. Okay, have another go. Taking that overhead reach, keeping the ribs softening towards the pelvis, and then gently bring the arms back. So we start to really connect through our core strength here to support the weight of the arms. We'll start to circle the arms back down to the hips this time, so take a wide circle as they return to hips. So we'll inhale, overhead reach, keep the ribs soft. Exhale, circle the arms back to the hips. Inhale, overhead reach. Exhale, circle. So this is a really nice core connection. You should be feeling quite a lot of strength in that midsection between your rib cage and your hip bones, because that's where we're holding that tightness, we're holding that connection. We're not allowing ribs to pop up, keeping the base of the ribs always trying to kiss your hip bones. Inhale on the overhead reach. Exhale as you circle. Try if you can now to think about what your shoulders are doing. Don't let them flop into overextension and flop into laziness. Try and keep them active, engaged and retracted all the way around. Even if that means you don't quite stretch as far, that's absolutely fine. We'll start building up some strength and stability there instead of flexibility. Good. Last couple here. Overhead reaching. And then drawing the arms back down to the side of the body. Good. Again, you might want a little stretch out. I'm going to stretch my toes to the bottom edge of my mat and stretch my hands to the top edge of the mat and have a full body length reach. You might like to do the same with me. Or if there's another way that you need to ease your back off, feel free. So we'll combine next the movements we've just done. So if you want to walk your feet back towards your sit bones for Pilates rest position, take a moment to get your lower back happy and gently lift one leg to tabletop legs. Checking in with the neutral spine, re-engaging the core, lifting leg number 2 to tabletop. We've got hands down by the sides. So we're sustaining this tabletop position by engaging the tummy. We're then going to add in the overhead circle. So start to take your arms into that overhead reach position. Exhale, circle the arms back down. So now we've got the weight of the legs. We've got to think about keeping our lumbar in its neutral curve and scooping in through the lower abdominals. But we're still thinking about the rib cage position. So you're trying to keep your ribs kissing your pelvis as you inhale for the overhead reach and exhale, circle the arms down. So these, again, they're tough, okay? These are tough. When done correctly, I've been teaching Pilates for years now, and these very, very simple movements still get really fiery. They engage all the right things in all the right places. Inhale, overhead reach. Circle the arms back down toward the hips. We'll just do 2 more here. So keeping the rib cage softening towards the pelvis, using that strength in hips, standing tall. Lovely, and bringing the hands back, gently bringing each foot back down towards the mat. You might like to hug both knees in towards the chest now and just squeeze them in and out a few times to give some length into the low back there. Take each foot back down towards the mat and rest the hands by the side. Cross your left leg all the way over your right leg there. If this is too much and your lower back's a bit tense, you could just have the legs side by side, but normally left leg crossed over right gives you a really good stretch. We'll bring the arms out wide just to the sides of the body and settle the shoulders down away from the ears to release any tension. Gently rock your lower body to roll to the right side, so you roll onto right hip and let that body turn and twist. Keep shoulders grounded. And breathe here, feeling the length in the left thigh and left hip, the outer side of the thigh and hip. Feeling that twist in the left side of the lumbar. Some of you may well get a stretch across the chest here as well. If you want to twist your neck, you could turn your chin just gently to the left side and just approach that with gentleness, with kindness, and let your head feel heavy. So you don't have to push that. If you can just connect with a sense of heaviness in the body and in the head, the stretch will happen for you. Realign the gaze to the ceiling if you'd moved it around, engaging your core to help bring the legs back through to center, spine to the middle of the mat, pelvis to the middle of the mat. Cross your right leg over your left this time, and then roll towards that left side. Again, if you want to turn your chin, turn it to the right. And just let that sense of heaviness overwhelm you. The heavy legs, the heavy hips, the heavy bottom, heavy shoulders and arms on the mat behind you. And just allow your joints to almost fall apart a little bit here. You are well supported by the mat. Allow that sense of heaviness and release. If you had turned your chin to the right, turn your gaze back to the ceiling, engage some core work, and bring your body back in towards you. Scooping both knees in towards the chest again, we're going to hold the knees apart this time and just gently rock and roll side to side. Maybe start to circular motions around that lower back, loosening, massaging as you go. Change direction of travel here. And then gently rest the feet back on towards the mat. Cross your left ankle on top of your right knee and just push your left knee open and just hold here for 5 deep breaths. If this isn't giving you enough, grab your legs and pull in toward the body. Breath deep into the body there. Really find that breath deep within you. And release and swap sides. Right ankle stacks on the left knee and you just push your right knee open. Unless you want more, pick those legs up, pull them in towards the body. And again, settle into those 5 breaths, but find them deeply inside your body. Releasing the legs. Grab those knees in again and start to rock and roll up and down your spine until you gather enough momentum in this ball shape to bring yourself up to a seated position. So thank you very much for joining me for another Pilates class. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and I'll see you on the next one.